Someone asks, hey, how are you doing? And you shut down. Someone says, you'll be stronger after this. You get defensive. Someone questions your choices and you get angry. That was me. A knot in the stomach, chest tightening, convinced my pain was so unique that no one could possibly understand. That was my ego protecting an identity that was already gone. And if you're in identity crisis right now, your ego may be doing the same thing. So let me show you what I couldn't see then. Your ego is your sense of self. It's how you know who you are. But during identity crisis, here's what happens. The things that defined you are disrupted or gone. That could be your job title, your relationship status, your whole belief system, or your role in the family. Your sense of self was built on these things, now they're gone. So your ego becomes unstable, and when your ego is unstable, it becomes reactive. Let me show you what this looks like. Here's a scenario. Someone asks about your divorce. A healthy ego response says, it's been difficult, but I'm working through it. An unstable ego response is, why is everyone so interested in my personal life? Maybe focus on your marriage. Do you see the difference? The healthy ego can acknowledge struggle without defending. The unstable ego feels attacked by a simple question. Here's what's really happening. Your ego is trying to protect an identity that's already crumbling. It doesn't know who you are anymore, so it overcompensates with defensiveness. That's when ego becomes problematic, and during identity crisis, everything feels like a threat. Let me show you what ego actually is, because most people misunderstand this. Ego gets a bad rap. We use it as an insult, like, he has such a big ego. But ego isn't inherently bad, it's necessary. Your ego helps you set boundaries, make choices, know your preferences. A healthy ego says, this is who I am and this matters to me. The problem isn't having an ego. The problem is when ego becomes so fragile that any challenge feels like a threat. In my book, I use the Iceberg Model to explain this. At the surface, you have your persona, that mask that others see. But beneath that is your ego. That's your sense of self, the collection of thoughts and narratives about who you are. And deeper still below the surface is your shadow. That's the parts that you've repressed or you don't want to acknowledge. And encompassing it all is yourself, the complete you, all parts together. But here's what matters for you right now. During identity crisis, your ego, that sense of self, is disrupted. The external markers it relied on are gone, so it panics. And when ego panics, it creates defensiveness, division, and emotional turbulence. That's what I couldn't see when I was going through my worst times. My ego was protecting an identity that was already gone, and it was creating conflict where none needed to exist. When your ego is running the show during identity crisis, two patterns emerge. Pattern one is a defensive division. Your ego creates us versus them thinking. My ex is the problem. I did everything right. People who question me are against me. What's happening is your ego needs someone to blame. If they're wrong, then you're right. If they're the villain, you're safe. The cost to this, of course, is that you can't learn from the experience. You push away support and you stay stuck in reactive mode. And this was my pattern for a time. So someone would offer care maybe. You'll be stronger once you get through this. And my ego heard it as minimizing, as if they didn't understand how hard it was. So I'd shut down, I'd get defensive, I'd push them away. I convinced myself my pain was so unique that no one could possibly help. That's ego creating division, and it kept me isolated when I needed support most. Minor things trigger major reactions. Someone asks a simple question and you feel rage. Someone suggests an idea and you feel insulted. Someone doesn't respond to your text immediately and you feel abandoned. What's happening is your ego is so fragile that anything feels like an attack. You're not responding to what's actually happening. You're responding to what your ego thinks it means about you. And the cost? You damage relationships. You create conflict where none needed to exist, and you exhaust yourself with all the emotional turbulence. Here's the pattern across both. Your ego is trying to maintain the old sense of self, but the old self is already gone. So the ego doubles down, getting more defensive, more divisive, more reactive, which makes everything worse. This is the cycle. Unchecked ego leads to conflict and reactivity, which creates more instability, which makes ego more defensive. So how do you break it? Well, contrary to some people's opinions, it's not by killing your ego, it's not by becoming egoless. That's not realistic. You still need that to function. The answer is self-awareness, specifically noticing when ego is driving your reactions. So here's the 4-step practice. Step 1 is learn your ego's physical cues. When your ego feels threatened, your body tells you, so pay attention to maybe heat rising in your face, or that tightness in your chest, or clenched jaw or fist, or a rapid heartbeat, or some kind of urgent need to respond now. These are your ego alarm bells. They're telling you ego is activated, pause before responding. And that step 2 is that. Pause before reacting. When you notice the physical cues, stop just for 10 seconds. Don't text back, don't defend yourself, don't explain, don't justify, just pause. And in that pause, ask yourself, is this my ego protecting me, or is there a real threat? Most of the time, it's just ego. The threat isn't real. Step 3 is choose response over reaction. Once you've paused, you have a choice. You can react from ego and you defend and divide and get emotional, or you can respond from awareness, which is acknowledge, clarify, and stay grounded. And then step 4 is to see it in action. Let me show you how this works with a real scenario. So your friend says, have you thought about therapy? Without awareness, your physical cue is your face flushes, your chest tightens, you don't notice this. Your ego reaction is, I don't really need therapy. Maybe you need therapy. And the result is you push away someone who cares. But with awareness, the physical cue is the same. Your face flushes, your chest tightens, and you notice it though. And then you pause for 10 seconds and you ask, is this a real threat or is it just ego? And the aware response is, you're right, I've been struggling, I'll think about that. Thanks for caring. And the result is you stay connected to support. The big difference here isn't what they said. The difference is whether you noticed your ego activating before you responded. And that pause, those 10 seconds, changes everything. Now be aware that this isn't a one and done. Your ego will keep getting triggered, and that's normal. The goal isn't to never have ego reactions. The goal is to just catch them sooner. So maybe the first time you notice this after the argument, and then maybe the next time you notice it during the argument, and eventually you start to notice before the argument starts, and that's progress. Here's what changed for me when I learned to notice my ego. I stopped needing to be right all the time. I could receive feedback without feeling attacked. I could admit that I was struggling without feeling like a failure. I could let people have their opinions about my choices without needing to defend myself. Now, this didn't happen overnight. It took practice. And my ego, of course, still activates. It probably always will, but now I notice it, and that changes everything, because when you can see that your ego is operating, you do have a choice. You're not just at its mercy anymore. And to clarify a couple things, you can have boundaries without defensiveness. You can have convictions without division. You can have emotions without reactivity. Your ego isn't the enemy. Unconscious ego is the problem. When you become aware of your ego, it can serve its healthy purpose, which is helping you navigate life. When you're unconscious of it, it creates unnecessary suffering. So the complete framework for understanding ego during identity crisis is in chapter 2 of my book, From Reactive to Resilient, Practical Awareness for Major Life Changes. There's 15 chapters covering the CALM method, identity crisis recovery, and there's even a 30-day action plan in there. This launches January 13th. You can pre-order now at reactivetoresilient.com. The Kindle's going to be $9.99. Paperback's going to be $17.95. The hardcover's going to be $34.95. The link is in the description. If this video helped you see your ego patterns more clearly, please hit the like button and subscribe. New videos every week on identity, resilience, and navigating major life changes. And again, my book, From Reactive to Resilient, launches January 13th, 2026. I'll see you in the next video.